Chevron CEO urges Biden to stop criticizing big oil, take new method. Houston, Washington. Chevron chief executive Michael Wirth on Tuesday rebutted White House officials' grievance of the oil enterprise over power costs, saying lowering fuel prices would require an alternate in technique through the government. The letter is the ultra-modern in a series of acrimonious exchanges between the U.S. oil industry and President Joe Biden over who is responsible for high fuel expenses that have helped drive inflation to 40-year highs. The White House asked the CEOs of 7 refiners and oil groups, which include Chevron, NYSE, CVX, to assembly this week to talk about ways to growth manufacturing ability and decrease electricity expenses. Wirth stated he might attend. Your management has largely sought to criticize, and at times vilify, our industry, Wirth said in a letter to Biden. These moves are not useful to meeting the demanding situations we are facing. A couple of hours later, Biden informed journalists in Washington the executive turned into being too touchy. I failed to know they'd get their feelings harmed that effortlessly, the president stated, when requested about Wirth's letter. On June 10, Biden blasted oil organizations for making document profits and advised them to increase oil manufacturing and refining capacity to alleviate gas costs. He also accused ExxonMobil Corp. NYSE, XOM, of creating more money than God and not drilling sufficient in feedback in Los Angeles earlier this month. Biden is beneath pressure over record gasoline charges, and inflation is a top issue for voters in advance of the November elections with control of Congress at stake. Wirth stated the oil enterprise desires clarity and consistency on policy subjects ranging from leases and allows on federal lands, to the capability to permit and construct crucial infrastructure and regulation that considers costs and benefits. We need and sincere communicate, Wirth stated. One that recognizes our industry as an essential zone of the U.S. economy and is essential to our national security. Refiners are struggling to meet international call for diesel and gasoline, exacerbating high fees and aggravating shortages from massive clients like the United States and Brazil to smaller international locations like war-ravaged Ukraine and Sri Lanka. U.S. pump expenses are near $5 a gallon as hovering call for motor fuels coincides with the lack of approximately 1 million barrel in keeping with day of processing ability. In the final 3 years, many flowers have been closed while gas demand cratered at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The closing U.S. refinery changed into built in the 1970s, Wirth stated in advance this month in a webcast, and reduced exports from Russia and China additionally contributed to global deliver shortages. In my opinion, do not believe there may be a new petroleum refinery ever built on this ISA, Wirth said in advance this month in a webcast. The international is confined at a time when product call for is growing.